I don't think we ever fully unpacked just how strange Mike Johnson is as a person. A guy who monitors what videos his son is watching, a relationship that actually goes both ways for some reason, and he's also just a religious fanatic. But that's all we seem to know about Mike. There's some other stuff that he's clearly hiding, at least according to one TikTok user who is now making an accusation that they have proof that Mike Johnson is gay, and it's because this TikTok user is furious that Mike Johnson is covering something else up, the Epstein files. And so now he's threatening Mike in a story that is unfolding in a very crazy way that we are going to get into. But before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, before we can get into this TikTok with the accusation against Mike Johnson, we have to start with the reason for it, because the user said he'll go public with this information unless the Epstein files come out. And it's not just the Epstein files, it's the swearing in of one member of Congress. The brewing fight over Adelita Grijalva's congressional swearing in the Epstein files. Democrat Adelita Grijalva cruised to a landslide victory last week, winning her congressional special election by roughly 40 points. Once sworn in, she'll be Arizona's first ever Latina congresswoman, succeeding her father, the late Rep. Raul Grijalva, and she'll narrow the GOP majority in the U.S. House. Republicans will hold 219 seats to the Democrats' 214, with 2 vacancies remaining. What's more, upon arriving on Capitol Hill, she's also said that she intends to sign a pending discharge petition to force disclosure of the Jeffrey Epstein files currently being held back by Donald Trump's Justice Department. Proponents of the effort are currently one member short of 218 signatures, but Grijalva's support would trigger a process that House Speaker Mike Johnson would be largely powerless to stop. All the Arizonan has to do is wait for the chamber to return from its current break, at which point she can take the oath of office. At the heart of the matter is a question about how best to deal with routine electoral bureaucracy. In theory, Grijalva should be sworn into Congress on October 7th, the day members get back to work. This would be consistent with standard practice. But there are growing concerns that Republican leaders in the chamber will try to delay Grijalva's swearing in until officials in Arizona certify the special election results, which, again, were not close, but will take weeks. The House Speaker's office hasn't elaborated on its plan, saying only that the chamber would wait for the appropriate paperwork, but as a practical matter, Congress has already received the appropriate paperwork. Arizona's Secretary of State's office notified the House clerk last week that Grijalva is the unofficial election winner based on the lopsided result. Okay, so what does this have to do with the accusation that Mike Johnson is gay? Well, like I said, the TikTok user who said that they had information confirming this to be the case in the form of a certain dating platform in which Mike Johnson allegedly has a profile, this user said unless Adelita Grijalva is sworn in, he's going to release this information. But it's not just because of Epstein. It is also because of a pending government shutdown that, of course, Mike Johnson is lying about.
Cover. They haven't backed off on any of those demands, Sean. You had it right. They want to take hard-earned taxpayer dollars and they want to give new benefits to illegal aliens. We eliminated that in our big beautiful bill. They want to bring it back. They want to prop up NPR and PBS. They want $500 million. That's their demand in their counteroffer, to prop up the Corporation for Public Broadcasting again. We're not doing that. Left-leaning media outlets don't need to be funded by taxpayers. They want to spend $1.5 trillion on a simple 7-week stopgap funding measure so our appropriators can get back to the job of just funding the government. And it's really a crazy thing to watch.
So Johnson is preventing Adelita Grijalva from being sworn in to make it easier for Republicans to get what they want done on this government shutdown and to prevent the release of the Epstein files. And one TikTok user is pissed about that, and he's threatening Johnson with the exposing of his real private life. It's just crazy. Take a look.
Hey, here's a message for Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson. Pay attention, bud. This is for Mike Johnson. If you're not Mike Johnson, you can keep scrolling or you can stay here and listen to what I have to say. Hey, Mike, you have until Wednesday to swear her in. Wednesday. Or I will release your Grindr profile, and your IP address. I bring receipts, bitch. You're not going to sit there and actively work against LGBTQ rights and democracy. It is treason. Yeah, I'm calling you out for treason. You have until Wednesday to swear her in and let democracy take its course, or I will release your Grindr profile and your IP address. Connects both to you, Mike. The choice is yours. Do the right thing. Because I'm petty. And I'm not above this bullshit.
Now, I don't want to confirm or deny anything, because how would I know? But MAGA Mike, yeah, I don't know. Interesting guy, kind of like out there, a little different. You know, if you told me Lindsey Graham, I'd be like, yeah, okay, come on. If you told me Tim Scott, I'd be like, yes. Oh, what are we even saying here? Check the box. We already know what's going on. But interesting stuff going on right now. And it's especially a little strange with the response that we've seen from the Speaker's office. But of course, we know ultimately they want to delay and delay and delay. There are several elections, special elections, that should have taken place weeks and months ago in a state like Texas. But of course, Governor Greg Abbott understands that the longer he can push a special election, the longer it takes to get another Democrat in the House. And Mike Johnson is terrified of that because with already such a slim majority in the House, he's really struggling, especially around this government shutdown, which we need more of an update on, and we got it from Lawrence O'Donnell right here.
Well, if you wanted to see the spot where the very first president of the United States was inaugurated, you have to travel a couple hundred miles north of Washington, D.C. George Washington actually took his first oath of office as president in Lower Manhattan on Wall Street in a spot that is now commemorated for that historic moment. For what turned out to be a brief, shining moment, New York City was the first capital of the United States of America for a little over a year. George Washington lived then not in a big White House, but in a New York City rental like so many millions of us have since that time. New York City in those days was, in every important sense, the center of the United States of America. And for a brief, shining moment today, New York City was, in a sense, the center of our political world once again. Two guys from Brooklyn and a guy from Queens walk into a room to discuss the immediate future of the government of the United States of America. It's all up to them. If those three New Yorkers reach an agreement, the government continues its normal operations. If they don't, the government shuts down. They didn't reach an agreement today. And so we are now 26 hours away from Donald Trump's next shutdown of the American government. The last time the government shut down was the last time Donald Trump was president. One of the guys from Brooklyn reminded the guy from Queens that there were no government shutdowns when Joe Biden and the Democrats were in charge.
When I was leader, we negotiated 4 times with Republicans, and we never had a shutdown. And so it's up to the Republicans whether they want to shut down or not.
The two guys from Brooklyn tried to explain to the guy from Queens that he was hurting people who cannot afford dramatic increases in their health insurance costs. But trying to explain that to the guy from Queens isn't easy because he doesn't know those people who struggle with the cost of health care. The guys from Brooklyn went to local Brooklyn public schools. Chuck Schumer, now the Democratic leader of the United States Senate, is a proud graduate of James Madison High School on Bedford Avenue in Brooklyn. Hakeem Jeffries, now the Democratic leader of the United States House of Representatives, is a proud graduate of Midwood High School on Bedford Avenue, about 10 blocks north of Chuck Schumer's high school. And Donald Trump is the rich kid from Queens who now occupies an Oval Office he has stained with the vulgarity of his obsession with gold, and he went to boarding school. Boarding school is not the place where you meet people whose families have trouble paying the bills. The golf courses where Donald Trump spends his weekends, including this weekend, when he could have been working on funding the government, are not the kinds of places where Donald Trump's going to meet people who have trouble paying for their health insurance.
He laid out to the president some of the consequences of what's happening in healthcare. And by his face and by the way he looked, I think he heard about them for the first time. The closing of rural hospitals. The fact that so many clinics are closing. And I don't know if he knew this before.
Of course he heard it for the first time. Of course he couldn't possibly have known it before. Or he would have taken the situation more seriously, right? He wouldn't have spent the weekend doing absolutely no governing work whatsoever. He wouldn't have canceled the first meeting that he had scheduled with those two guys from Brooklyn last week. Would Donald Trump have spent Saturday slumped in a golf cart, exhausted, while playing golf with his granddaughter? If Donald Trump knew what was at stake in the funding of the government, would he have been posting on social media, sending out a quote, all necessary troops, this is what he said, all necessary troops to protect a ravaged war area? Ukraine? Gaza? No. Donald Trump tweeted about sending 200 National Guard troops, quote, to protect war-ravaged Portland. Portland has never been war-ravaged. No part of the United States of America has been war-ravaged since Abraham Lincoln was president, and the Confederate States that now so enthusiastically support Donald Trump were making war against the United States of America. Of course, if Donald Trump thinks Portland is war-ravaged, then his cognitive decline has reached very, very, very high speed, and it's getting faster every day. There was other evidence of that dramatic cognitive decline this weekend when Donald Trump should have been concerned about how to keep the government running. And he was instead tweeting an imaginary image of firing someone he cannot fire. There's Donald Trump.
This is a real opportunity for Democrats to flex their muscles a little bit and show the American people that what Donald Trump has done to the government is use it in so many ways as his personal piggy bank. And we are ready to stop that, whatever it takes. We need to fight back. We need to have some spine. Chuck Schumer, do not trust Republicans. Do not send them a thank you note ahead of time. And do not send Donald Trump another fucking strongly worded letter. My God, I am begging with you, because we will call you out on that. We're gonna on this show. I don't care. We shoot straight here. Unlike apparently Mike Johnson. I don't know. I didn't want to confirm anything. I was presenting the facts to you. I don't want to get sued by the Speaker of the House. At least for that, but maybe for something else. We'll have to see. And if you want to stick around for my pending lawsuit, maybe with Mike Johnson, as always, you can hit that subscribe button. Leave a like on this video if you stuck around to the end. Drop a blue heart in the comments. And if you want to support the show in another way, you can subscribe to my Substack, linked right here or down below. Keep on fighting. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.